C8 Pate, back at you with another video. And in today's video, we are going over some of the differences between the Can-Am Ryker and the Can-Am Spyder. And we are talking about and trying to figure out which one is the better purchase for you. I have people asking me all the time, should I want to buy a Can-Am? Should I start with the Ryker or should I get the Spyder? And I always try to figure out with them, like, is it your first bike? Is it your second bike? Are you okay with gears? Are you okay with automatic? There's several questions that go into that when trying to figure out which bike you should purchase. And of course, price makes a big difference. So I got 10 things that we're gonna go over to try to figure out which one wins in each category, and then make a decision on which one is the better buy for you. So first up is overall look. We're gonna check that out. Next up is oil changes and overall maintenance. The third category is gas and fuel. Then horsepower and a 0 to 60. Then storage and security. Then which one is more comfortable? Which one is the better performer? Which one has better performance? Then the price. Which one is more popular? And then overall reliability. Those are the 10 things that we're going to judge this off of and make a decision on which one you should purchase. Let's get into number one. Overall looks. In my opinion, as I've said a few times, the better overall look and design is definitely the Ryker, in my opinion, compared to the F3. So we're comparing this to an F3 and a Ryker 900. We're comparing the two. This is actually a Ryker 900 Rally. In my opinion, the better design and overall look is definitely the Ryker. It's sexier to me. Get in the comment section and let me know if you agree with me. The Spyder, it's a very nice looking bike, in my opinion, especially if you dress it up. But I don't know. I think they probably could have did a better job with the design. So the Ryker wins it in the first category. Second category, oil changes and overall maintenance. So you got to buy the oil kit. Let's start there. If you buy an oil kit for a Ryker, it's about 80 bucks. If you buy one off Amazon or something like that, right? If you buy one off Amazon, Lamasha's Garage, Sling Mod, for the Spyder, it's about 150 bucks. Now the oil change, you're supposed to get an oil change on a Ryker every 6,000 miles. You're supposed to get an oil change on a Spyder every 9,300 miles. So I'm going to call that one a push, because even though the oil kit costs more, this is if you're doing it yourself. Obviously, if you're going to the dealership, they're going to charge you almost $300 some because they have to do the oil change, right? On a Spyder, they're going to charge you about closer to 400 bucks to do an oil change, probably about 420 if they got to provide the oil and do the oil change for you, right? But if you're doing it yourself, it would cost you 80, and it would cost you about 150 to 160 to do this one. But you're going to get 3,300 miles more before this oil needs to be changed compared to this one. So we're going to call that a push. Gas and fuel. The Ryker is 5.28 gallons of gas is how much it takes, right? The Spyder is only 7.1 gallons of gas is how much it takes. So the Spyder can hold more. With the way that I ride, I can only get 100 miles out of a Ryker before it's empty. It's all about how you ride, what setting you ride in, and how hard you ride, how hard you pull that throttle. I can only get about 200 miles out of a Spyder with the way that I ride. So I'm getting about 100 miles more out of a Spyder compared to out of a Ryker. If I really had to be honest about it, with the way I ride this darn thing, I'm probably only getting about 180 miles out of my Spyder. Now it costs anywhere between, depending on the gas prices, it costs anywhere from $15 to $18 of regular gas to fill up a Ryker. A Spyder, the cost is anywhere from $24 to $29 to fill up a Spyder because it takes premium gas. The Ryker takes regular gas, 87. The Spyder takes premium gas, 93. So who do we give the win there? I gave the win to the Spyder on that one. And I gave the win to the Spyder because it has a bigger tank capacity and you can get pretty much double the amount of riding time before it's empty out of the Spyder compared to the Ryker. Next up, horsepower. We're going to talk about horsepower in the 0 to 60. So the Ryker horsepower is 82. The Spyder's horsepower is 115. The Ryker's CCs is 900 CCs. You also have the 600 CC bike. The Spyder horsepower, CCs is 1330. 1330. The 0 to 60 time on a Ryker is about 6 seconds. It's about 6 seconds. 5.8 to 6 seconds. The 0 to 60 on a Spyder is 4.8 seconds. That's the difference in the two. Now, I do see where, I haven't tried it with a 600, but they say 0 to 60 on a 600 is faster than a 900 on the Ryker. So they're saying 0 to 60 on a 600 is about 5 seconds flat, when the Ryker is about 5.8. So I haven't tested any out to race a Spyder versus a Ryker to really figure that out. I'm not really sure, but they're saying after the 0 to 60, the 900 just blows past the 600. Storage and security is the next up. So that one, I'm giving the horsepower and 0 to 60. Obviously, it's going to the Spyder. The Spyder won that category. Storage and security. So storage, we're talking about not these storage bags. Take the storage bag off the F3. How do you buy an F3 straight out of the dealership? This is the only storage you have. Right there, and it's pretty deep. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. No storage, no aftermarket storage or anything, straight from a Ryker. This is all the storage you have. This little storage compartment right there, and it's not that deep. So obviously for storage, the Spyder won the storage battle. Along with storage, I also put security in this. So with security, the Ryker, all it has is this little key right here. Whether you have that key or not, all you have to do is pull the parking brake down and you can move this bike around. You do have a key that can go in here and lock it, but I don't think that's a lot of security. The actual Spyder, you have a key and you have to turn this key either way in order. So if this bike is in park and the key is out, you can't move this bike. The parking brake on, you can't move the bike. The bike ain't going nowhere. So obviously on security, the Spyder wins that hands down all day long and every day. All right, next up, which one is more comfortable? This is debatable for some folks, but I'm gonna say 100%. The Spyder is more comfortable because it has more room. Look how big it is. Look at the space for you and your passenger. Look at where the foot pegs and everything are and the floorboards. It's just more comfortable. The Ryker is kind of enclosed. It's just not as comfortable. Two regular sized people on a Ryker, doesn't look as good in my opinion. What else about that? Let me think. The Spyder's just way more comfortable than a Ryker all day. You guys can see it in the video. It is what it is. So on that one, now the Ryker is an automatic. The Ryker is automatic. The Spyder, you have to upshift. It has 6 gears and you have to upshift. Some people take that into account when they think about, being comfortable. They just want to turn the throttle and that's it. They don't want to go through a bunch of gears. Better performance. So I'm being more comfortable, we gave it to the Spyder again. Better performance. I feel that the Spyder outperforms the Ryker all day long. So the Spyder has power steering. So that's number one. Power steering. This thing is easy to steer. Power steering like a car. The Ryker does not have power steering. It kind of actually sucks. You feel like you're fighting against the bike some days with the steering. The Spyder, many of them have Brembo brakes, so they have upgraded brakes on them. The Ryker does not have Brembo brakes, so I feel like that's another thing. Performance-wise, it's just better overall. Top speed on these things. The most that I've gotten the Ryker up to, my Ryker's up to, is 111. The most that I've gotten the Spyder up to is 127 miles per hour. And all this varies depending on how much wind is out. Some people have reported that they've only gotten 104 miles per hour out of their Ryker. It won't go over 104. I got mine to 111. I got this thing to 127, and it says that it really only goes to about 125. I actually got this thing to 127. Next up, price. So obviously for better performance, the Spyder won. For price, hands down, y'all already know the Ryker wins. On average, for a brand new bike out of the dealership with taxes and everything else and title, about $12,000, $12,500, depending on which one you're buying. Obviously, it could go down if you're buying a 600. Now that lovely F3, base F3, hey, you're looking at closer to 20 grand with taxes, title, and everything out the door. You're looking closer to 20 grand. So obviously on price, the Ryker wins it, and that's why a lot of people buy it. Which one is more popular? So this one I did as a push. I'm going to say this one is a push, and I'm going to say it from this part of things. For the Ryker, more women buy the Ryker, usually, right? So women buy the Ryker, and first-time riders I see are the ones that mainly buy the Ryker. For the Spyder, the demographic usually is people that have rode a Harley or bikes before and they want to come off two wheels and they go to three wheels, or people that already owned a Ryker or some type of scooter and they want to go to something bigger. They want to go to a bigger, better bike. They want to go to a Spyder. I also see for bigger people, 6'3", 6'2", 6'5", 6'6", they tend to usually buy Spyders over Rykers. People that weigh a little bit more, somebody that weighs 300 pounds is not probably going to be on a Ryker. They're going to be on a Spyder. So I put that as a push because it all comes down to your comfort level. What are you comfortable with? Which one makes you feel that, yep, this is the bike for me? Last but not least, so that was a push. Last but not least is the overall reliability. Which one is overall more reliable? I'm going to go with the Spyder again, 100%, because the Spyder, since me having both, my Rykers definitely have broken down way more and have more issues overall than the Spyder. Most of the time I have an issue, I'm gonna be honest, with a Spyder or a Ryker, it's because of the aftermarket accessories that I put on the darn things. But if you're asking me, if I'm gonna go for a ride on the town, it's gonna be for like an hour, or if I'm riding out of town, I prefer to probably take the Spyder over the Ryker all day. It is just, in my opinion, it's just the Spyder is way more reliable. Get in the comment section. I know some of you guys are going to disagree with some of my points that I made today, and I am completely okay with that. That is the type of community that we are. We are okay with disagreeing. So we had two pushes. The Ryker won in 2 categories, and the Spyder won in 6 categories. So going back through the categories, overall look, the Ryker won that all day. Oil changes and overall maintenance, that was a push. Gas and fuel, the Spyder won. Horsepower, Spyder won. Storage, the Spyder won. More comfortable, the Spyder won. Better performance, the Spyder won. Price, the Ryker won. More popular, a push. Overall reliability, the Spyder won again. So if you're asking me which one you should go buy, I guess I'm gonna say buy whatever you're comfortable with, buy whatever your money can afford you, buy whatever you feel like sets your heart on fire, that you're like, yep, this is the bike for me. Hey, for me, I got both of them, right? I got a Ryker, I got a Spyder, so I got the best of both worlds. For some, if you've got one bike to pick, get in the comment section. Which bike would you pick? If you have a Ryker, knowing what you know now, and let's say you've had a Ryker for a year, 2 years, do you still want that Ryker, or are you ready to upgrade to the Spyder? Or let me talk to some of the people, that's who I want to hear from. Who's had a Spyder F3, any kind of Spyder, and went back to a Ryker? Never had a Ryker, went straight to a Spyder, and then went backwards and went to a Ryker. I never hear about those stories at all. I don't think I've ever heard that before at all. I either hear people go from a Ryker to a Spyder or a Slingshot, or I hear people that went from a Spyder to a Slingshot, but I never hear people that went from a Slingshot to a Ryker or a Spyder to a Ryker. I mean, I just think the Ryker is the entry level, and it is a badass entry level. It is a fun time. So get in the comment section, blow it up. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, can you please hit the subscribe button? Can you please hit the like button? Until next time, my friends, CA Pate out.